Wesley would like to obtain the road complaints before the next meeting for review. The next meeting was scheduled for July 7th,
It is the road asset management system. Breaks it down, or the other is a system management
Thank you.
system.
I second. Yeah. Accept the minutes.
I second it. All in favor? Okay.
Sounds working.
Um,
Want you to keep internet?
Thank you.
I don't know, maybe one of you two select can tell me, but there was one on Town Farm Road by Craig Paddock. But I was gonna ask her. It said it was given to BIM 12 something of last year, in December of last year. That doesn't, has he fixed it?
Where does he,
Looked at it?
whereabouts does he live on that road?
Huh?
Whereabouts does he live on that road?
When you go,
Going down over the hill?
if you come in from Bob Russell's side, you go up.
Or is
he's
that coming down?
2/3 way up on the left, his house is way back off the road.
Going up the hill?
Yep.
I don't know if it is.
I rode up through there.
I got up through there the other day, the hill was pretty bad.
On the complaint, it was they ditched it, I guess, from what it sounded like, and when they did, he had access in two places to his land where he could get one out with his pickup. And supposedly, he can't anymore. And one of the places had a culvert, and Ben took it out and put nothing back. And I wondered if that was taken care of.
I don't know, I'd have to take a ride up there.
When I come back, I take a ride and look at some of these things. I know that this isn't given to us, you know, these complaints, but I know there was a lot of complaints that weren't even touched. They weren't even done. Like Jeremy made a statement saying that so many hours will get done. You remember I had 3 culverts on right in front of my property. Randy came by finally and picked up that 8x8 that was logged in the ditch. And the other one down by my driveway, that thing's still plugged. It's been plugged for 2 years. And the other one has a rock on the other side of it where the water's kind of just going around it. But these are old, some of these complaints just went by the wayside, and people just decided we're not gonna do it anymore.
Make a list on the ones that hasn't been done.
Does anybody here know if driveways to private property, their own, you know, houses, whatever, we're taking care of the culverts, or are they responsible? Because the state used to do, even on this road, any road
The town,
or
maybe?
driveway that butted the road out here, the state, if you needed a culvert, they put it in, took care of it. If it rotted out, they came and changed it for you. But probably, I've been out since 15 to 20 years ago, they changed that. Where now the property owner owns it.
That's the way it is, that's the way it is now. The town takes care of the first one. Thereafter, it's the property owner's
But the
responsibility.
town is still responsible for cleaning the ends of the culverts.
Yeah, clean them, yes.
For most of our culverts, there's not too many steel, he has a steel culvert at the end of his driveway, but there's not too many steel culverts left.
No,
That property of Tavis, I went up by there and it sounded like he was talking about definitely 2 entrances besides the driveway and maybe a 3rd one. I couldn't find any entrance to that. So I don't know
I'll
whether,
take it right up there, and I'll ask them.
I don't know, I'd have to see Craig and ask him where are those driveways that are distance, you know, you
Yeah.
can't get through anymore.
Yeah, right.
There should be some kind of barway or something showing where the driveway was. You'll see that.
How many complaints did you get?
no wheel tracks, no nothing.
Let me see. It's, well, like I said, a lot of them are highway, so.
And then this, so I guess that one's unresolved, nobody knows what happened there. And the other one is this Mike Manny on Church Street. Non-working culverts need of repair. Yeah, I'd say any non-working culvert does need repair, but where? You know, he lives
Your church.
in the church. And so I looked in that area, but most people complain about what's near them. And I couldn't see a problem because if a culvert's not working, two things happen, or one in particular. If the culvert's not working, the water's coming over it, over your driveway, or over the road, you see the erosion still in the road or in your driveway, get sand or something. Nothing. But
I
then
couldn't see nothing either, I rode up there.
so, you know, I looked at that, but I couldn't see without having to go get him. And
Yeah,
No, I don't wanna do
I
that.
wasn't gonna do that.
Right.
But I heard afterwards that the only culvert that they knew of was out for the apple orchard out here, where Janice Bushy
Yeah.
buried.
There's a culvert there right by the driveway, because there's a very deep trench there, it's overly deep.
Yeah, Jeremy actually answered that question after that, like a year ago.
Right.
He came in here and answered it. He stated that it's ledge under it. The culvert's actually pitched the wrong direction, that culvert, and it doesn't actually amount to nothing because it's
Which
like
place you talking?
Church Street, right in the guy's driveway. But it goes vertical.
Where this guy lives?
Yeah. The culvert's actually, you know, not necessarily going downhill, it's the other way because it's a solid ledge under it.
Yeah, I believe that. But,
Having blasted and everything else.
didn't see any sign of any damage.
No.
Yeah. But supposedly there's one out by, the apple orchard out there that's
Plugged up.
a problem.
Yeah, I took a drive by that complaint and looked at that setup and at the old church on Mike Manny's property, I believe.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't drain, it pools up there, he's at the apex of the land, you know, that's it's actually a blind hill.
Right.
And, they trenched it so deeply right there, the water just pools up and stays.
I wonder if the trench could be, because it's such a deep trench, I wonder if it can be filled in so the water doesn't pool, it has to leave. You know what I'm saying? We'll have to look at it again.
you gotta clean it out a little bit, so it'll step.
Well, if it's going up, if the culvert's going uphill, then you're not ever gonna get it to drain. But I mean, it's deep, but this thing's like,
If it's
I mean, he
ledge,
knows the church, he's been there for 100 years, right?
but the ledge, if it's ledge under that culvert, then you're gonna have to either change the pitch of it or fill up the pocket.
I think that's the issue. I think it was dug out too much when they trenched all the Church Street. You know, they went down quite deep several places, and when you're
The
at the
culvert's
top.
like this, and you can't dig this end, but you can dig this one, so then that culvert's this way.
No, I see what you're saying. You don't think it's level or even slightly downhill? Yeah, I couldn't tell that.
But anyway, I looked at that one, and I don't know, is there any others that we missed for complaints that?
No, but I think, I mean, all the ones, I looked at the ones on all the ones that we received from Leanne. I wasn't sure if they've all been addressed. The ones I rode by did not look terrible. I did drive by the Church Street one, and quite a few, but I don't know what work was done.
So to me, that's, I don't know, that's the end.
What about all 140 here that,
The bridge is 100 years old, it's a bridge.
What's the date of that one?
Is that Stephanie Dunn or 88 Old State Road 140?
Which one is that? The other side of Bob's house?
Yeah, February 12th.
it's 12.
Who's the,
It's got a credit set from 1901.
where is that?
It's sold one for twice, not too far from Steve.
How about the Quonset hut garage right next to it? How about
That concrete culvert.
What's the complaint on it?
So washed out area around the bridge.
They fixed it, that's been fixed.
Okay.
That has been, so we can knock that one down. Any more of those complaints that somebody got that I don't have a copy of?
If any of them come in, we need to have them right away, so we make sure they get worked on.
Or at least looked at, for sure.
This way they won't be stuck in a file that doesn't get done. All right,
At the beginning of the meeting, Wesley and the committee voted that it will not be open to public comment. I just don't want you.
Okay, then, okay, it's not gonna be, when, you going to have these, when are you going to have the, record of the meeting?
It's being recorded and Leanne will upload it.
Even though, members of the public, have make comments on the situation that they know about?
well, if you have a complaint.
Right, but if the member of the public has knowledge of what the problem may be,
After the meeting, you can speak and tell us what you want done.
okay, after the meeting, if they don't want to wait,
Okay, thank you. Is that the end of that?
Yeah, we're going with
And next, the new items. I don't know how we want to look at Pratt. That's old and new both because it's old planning, but the new work, it hasn't been done. So let's put it between an old and a new then. And I want to tell you up front, I don't know how many board members have this.
I don't think I have that.
Any of you that look familiar to you at all?
No.
How about you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, this came out of the selectmen's, people's, what do you want to call it? It shows my age, old, selectmen.
We know what you're trying to say.
But anyway, this was what Bill submitted, Kathy brought it to the meeting. And I was there and I got a copy of it. And I couldn't see it all. I've been over the road twice. And I looked at what he said and I thought, I don't see that happening like that. So I happen to know of a professional highway builder that does that for a living. And he's done everything from Wood Road to, if anybody's familiar with Auburn, that road that goes from by the town building, town highway department. They rebuilt it last year or the year before. He built that, he was in charge of that job too. So if anybody's trying to say the guy probably ain't qualified, good luck with that one, because you probably won't find anybody any more qualified. So anyway, he agreed to go with me down that road. And I told him, I said, okay, I was driving, I said, you watch your side of the road going down. When we come back, you watch the other side of the road. So anyway, he wouldn't give me traces or like that, which I didn't expect. That's not what I wanted. I wanted guidance. And on the hill, ditches need to be cleaned and reseeded. Because I handed this to him, I said, if we go, look at it. And he, after we get down there, he says, what was that about? And I said, that's what he wants to do. Those don't be touched. He says, they're fine just the way they are. Just put some berms in every 40 feet or so. He said, make sure you use between 4 and 6 inch rocks so they don't wash away.
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
So I said, okay. So we rode down through and then we came to a section where the road is here. There's a berm basically following the road here. the drop off on this side, and it's like, I thought, okay, just take that off and let it go. And he, after we got out through there, I said, what do you think of that? He said, well, that's from plowing many years, that all the sand and stuff's built up, not, the grass is over, and you got that. He said, just need to be cut off. I said, okay. So we went down through, and when we were done looking both sides ditches, I said, how long to do that job of ditching? He said, okay, one excavator, 2 trucks. And he said, 3 days, 4 days at the most. I said, okay, now we've got, that's what I'm looking for, maybe time. I said, I'm not interested in the cost of it, but the time it takes to do it and the equipment.
That's the whole road, right? All the way.
And then, the big culvert, unfortunately, he's used to doing things that cost money too. Because, the first big culvert is, they put them in years ago when I was a young man, and they were water tanks, a lot of them. And then somehow they got, town put their hands on them, and they used a lot of them, but they were thick steel, and he said, that needs to come out, but he said, what looks like the volume of water that probably goes through there sometimes. He said, you need a box culvert. And I said, okay, how much is a box culvert? He said, well, he's about 100,000. I said, the plate, that boiler plate can stay there. I said, we can't do $100,000 one piece thing. So he did say that the next one afterwards, Bill wanted to replace it. And he looked it over, and he couldn't see anything wrong with it. The only thing is, he said that today we use plastic and that's metal. But he was very cautious about digging, because he said that if you're gonna pave it, don't dig it the same year. Because he said you can never get that to compact. If you leave this old and this has been dug into, no matter how many times you roll it, it is not gonna stay there after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, because if you go look at 2 culverts on that road down on the lower end, you don't have to wonder where you put them in, because you go down into one culvert and go to the next one, into the next one. But he said, theoretically, you don't dig the road, and in a year you pave it.
That's what Bill was saying, that,
But in this case, I guess he wouldn't come right out and say it, but he said the hill definitely needs to be fixed and paved. But from there on, that's optional for the town. And that would be my opinion too, because and the other thing was the soft spot that Bill was talking about, of the ledge next sentence. And we looked, and evidently he's talking about one on the side of the road that's just, it's not a very great ditch there, but it's a ledge there. And I said, that's what I think he's talking about. And I said, probably because he hits it with a wing when he goes by there if they're not careful. And he said, probably that's what it is. And he's more trained than I am. And he looked at it, he said, that's already been blown once. He said, I said, how do you know that? And so he said, drill marks where they drilled it and blown it. I was like, okay, I missed that too. But he's very good, and but he said that Ben's got down here blasting maybe two days work. And I said, well, how long will it take to drill that, blast it, and clean it up? He said, half a day at the most. So it's, Ben's got 2 days. And for me,
There's another thing to that, is if you had I know over in Buckfield, they have a jackhammer that goes on an excavator.
Yeah.
Man, them things can break some rocks.
takes a big excavator.
Yeah, they have one over there.
Well, the construction companies have them, matter of fact,
Dennis McAllister had one.
he does.
Yeah.
I think Jim's one of them has them too. But they're slow, but they break up.
Right, I don't know if that's cheaper than using, blasting or not. But
Well, he said that should be an option when the town wants to blow that to make it easier to plow or just leave it. It's nothing to do with road surface.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with that. But, they got the rest of the car, okay. And from pole 11, Ben's got, down to the Mahoney Road, rocks dug out and the rest of the tar be broken up and gravel added to be level. And he said, whatever you do, don't do that. He said, that'll destroy the road in the end. And I said, well, what's the right thing to do? He said, the right thing is to go through there with a reclaimer. And I was like, well,
You
just
grind it?
He says, no, the whole road.
Grind it?
Skim coat it?
You grind it?
It's a grinder. It's like a big rototiller.
Yeah.
And it grinds in place. And he said, you set it to the depth they want. He said, typically they'll go a foot deep. And everything, once they drop that down, he said that it would be done right, go all the way to the end of the hill where the good pavement is now. And he said what it does is it breaks all that hot top up into small chunks so it can mix with the dirt that's in there. And so you take the good gravel, the tar, and whatever material is under it, and it mixes it all up. So he said when you're done, excuse me, from the beginning to the end of that, the whole thing is one type of material, all going to settle together, all, and push you, pack it down. But I have a stinking feeling that that's very expensive. Go for it.
He's done that, he has done that on
Church Street.
quite a few roads. The Northeast has their own grinding machine. And they have been charging him 63 cents a square foot.
How much?
63 cents a square foot
A square foot?
is what they was charging him, and that was a deal.
That was it.
They used him as a good deal on that, at
Oh.
63 cents.
But is that
1,000 feet.
just as like,
No, this is like what you explained,
it goes down?
grinding the road.
It's not the one that takes the pavement off.
Was that?
It's not the one that just takes the pavement.
No, it grinds it right up, just like what you said, small pieces.
Put a foot deep.
But I mean,
But you get a better base when you're setting it down.
But he has done that in the past, and
well, like I said,
on the roads.
he's used to building a road that lasts, and I think town of Hatfield, in my opinion, between that and Poor, we should be in somewhere in the middle of that, because we can't, what he really would like to see on a road like that, there's no way we can afford it. I mean, a box culvert, grinder all, and put all kinds of stuff. So I said, well, if you don't do that soft spot, I said, dig it out, don't dig it out. He says, you may just make it worse. I said, how do you figure that? He says, when you dig that out, if you go down 2 feet, you created a pocket.
Water.
Exactly. He said, every time you dig it down, you're making the pocket of water worse. And he said, if you don't take it down, you just only went down a foot, it's gonna be a soft spot. And I said, okay, how do we fix it then? And he said, and this is where we need to know from Jim, how big an area it is. Because he said, grade it, or shape it at least, so that what's there now has a crown, because that may be the thing that runs water off. He said, then you put the, I don't know, I call it construction mat. It's a thick canvas, black material,
Mhm.
and they use that for going over swamps and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But he said, cover it right from ditch line to ditch line, and from before the soft spot to after the soft spot with that black fabric. And he said, put about 10 inches of gravel on it and then blend it into your road. And he said, pack, compress it, pack, hydrostatic roller over it. And he said, that way, it probably will take care of it and never bother you. But you won't create a pocket worse than what you got now. So I learned a lot, and it made sense what he said, it's like digging a well. You dig it out. So to me, digging that ground out is out of the question. There's so many things that are, let's see what else is on here. But he gave me times and stuff like that, not money, but times to do different types of things, from ditching to if you get blast, or if you, like putting gravel in so much time and grading and all these different things. So I got a pretty good idea now of what the ballpark of what we should be getting for labor and equipment involved and what the cost should be some close to it. And he said, he saw the estimate. And I said, that's his estimate. And he said, time will tell.
That's a rough estimate, that really wasn't,
Huh?
that is a rough estimate.
Right. But, we need to get this rough estimate down to a workable number where we can say that, if this guy says 3 to 4 days ditching, and Ben says, 2 weeks to ditch it,
No, I ain't gonna take
it
it.
won't happen, not in my opinion.
And the same thing like what Wesley's saying about the spots with the pocket, I'm gonna agree with Wesley that you don't dig it up. I mean, you just get in trouble.
Fill it up instead of,
The only other thing you could do is you could jam a lot of rock in it, like dump a lot of rock and crack the stamp it in until it. But some of those places, there's springs under there.
Some of this rock works its way up.
Right. But there's springs, a lot of times there's springs under them. And that's why they stay damp or there's clay.
If it's, but it's soft, and
Right, well, it never gets hard because the clay don't ever drain. And she's seen the clay on Tucker Road where I live, it's unbelievable. I got new clay, she's seen it right in my driveway. I mean, that stuff don't absorb water. Once it gets, you can take that, put it in a cup, pour water in it, and then put a hole in the bottom, it won't go through. The water will not come out the bottom of the cup.
But you see the rocks coming down over the hill, that he kind of like built a stone wall, like on the right-hand side going down over the hill. You notice them big rocks?
there looked like a piece of ledge there.
But no, this is just going down over the hill there. He's dug them rocks out of the road, and he piled them up on the edge,
Oh, yeah,
kind of like made a like stone wall out of them.
right.
But then rocks are what he's dug out of the road. So that's what his plan was for the rest of the roads, to dig out the big rocks like that. But if you're talking about grinding, that's a whole nother ballpark. What gonna be added cost, I don't know. I don't know what they would figure out the square footage.
For
On that, but,
for fractured rock.
No, no.
Like 3/4 minus, is that
No,
what you're
for
talking about,
grind,
something like that?
for grinding the road.
to have a
Oh,
paving
no.
company coming in
That's
and
gonna be
grinding it, don't actually look at added cost with that.
But like he said, don't break that old hot top up with, because at first, was talking to him, he said something about just take the bucket and smash it all up. But he said that if you do that, you're just gonna create like another rock that wants to get lifted.
Don't break it down small enough.
So he said,
Right, yeah.
if you can't grind it, you might as well just bury what you got.
You can't,
It's too bad you had to Too bad you couldn't have grabbed him at the same time he was.
Huh?
Too bad you couldn't have grabbed him at the same time you two was going down there looking things over.
No, I was just looking
But
for,
maybe you can go up and give them that information.
I'm not gonna tell him the time that I got for estimates, because I want him to do his own time.
Yeah.
Because that's, maybe that'd be like baiting him.
Yeah, no, I don't mean the
No,
time,
yeah,
I don't mean the time frame of it, but I mean just
But-
what he told you that the distance
What-
was all right, went down.
What I would like to do is take the information I have here, what he gave me, and actually make it into a form type thing where he can look at it and say, okay, that's for ditching. What are we gonna use for equipment? How long is it gonna take, the hours, and okay, different things. Now go to the burying stuff, culverts. How many culverts, how much, what equipment you need to do it, how long it's gonna take, and put your thing down there. And when he's done item by item that he's gonna do, each task he does, he's gonna itemize just that. When it's done, you can add that all up, and that's just cost estimate.
Good.
Go for it.
I spoke with Bim today at Great Lake. He apologized for not coming. He had a lot on his plate today and was unable to make it. I did ask him regarding the estimate, and regarding Saturday's meeting. He was a little concerned with attempting to try to do that. After discussion of explaining that we want to work with him, that we like his work, we want McNeil Farms in here, he has agreed that he is going to sit down with Rose and Brandon, or whoever through McNeil Farms. They are going to come down with an itemized estimate that the selectmen are looking for, what we are looking for. He plans to present that to the select board on July 6th.
Well, if
And
if he gives them his August.
August 6th.
To me,
So he's gonna break it down to his equipment, materials, ditches, length of ditches, depth, time, hour. He's gonna break it down
okay,
to come down with it.
but he has to know what I found out, that the top ditching that he wanted to do,
Right, so I would give him the paper.
he's gotta know that's not gonna happen, all he's gonna do is put the little beaver dams in there for it. That's all he's gonna do, because if he takes and tries to break this down, and this is not what we're gonna do, in my opinion. So that would be unfair to him, because he's gonna be.
He's just wasting his time.
It's not gonna happen,
I know,
which is
but
not good.
what we all have asked, select board and us, to get an estimated itemized breakdown of what he thinks needs to be done.
So he should wait for Wesley to give him his paper.
I can probably.
That's fine, but we have asked for his opinion. So as long as you give him that paper, he is still gonna put his opinion,
Right.
which I think,
I'll take and do, a list what I think needs to go to bid. And give it to the select board, and they can look at it. And if they don't have a problem with it, they can take it to bid and have him just fill it out.
This is what the,
And that's all we're asking. I said, it's not, he's gotta know what we want him to do. Instead of just saying, do whatever you want, we'll pay the bill. It's like,
this is what the road committee's supposed to do. We're gonna
we're
have a good road committee, so we're supposed to.
we'll make our recommendations and give them to the select board, which the two of you are here. And then you guys can do whatever you want with it.
So everybody in favor for Wesley to write this thing up?
Definitely.
I make a motion for Wesley to write it up. A second.
All opposed?
So you lose.
Yeah.
Hey, what I always say is if you suggest something, you own it.
But I did, when I gave him this paper, he was going over the road, this was still underneath it, it was rates. He looked at that and says, oh my word, this is, I know tons of people come work for you, because you pay the most of any place you've ever heard of per hour for trucks and stuff. I was like,
You compared those locally?
but I said, if we can get Ben to work with the paper we give him and put his facts and figures down, I could care. If he says he'll do it for 10,000, but he wants to get 5,000 for a truck, fine, you get the 10 for the whole job. Don't matter how much you say you charge for the truck. It's almost like a bid. I call it a best estimate, and you can take it from there. See what happens. Because right now, we're getting moved that fast. And that hill definitely needs to be done.
Especially the steep part.
Yes. The speed cut, I mean, from the end of that hill, what I call the end of the hill, to the Mahoney intersection, I'm not worried about that. That's not going anywhere.
Right. It's not gonna get any worse.
Hmm?
It's not gonna get any worse.
I got a question, probably more for selectmen. Is them or Brandon right now allowed to do on culverts? Can they have to wait for the select board to get permission? How's that work right now?
We'll see right now what happens.
So to know, so they're not doing anything?
The complaints are plugged up culverts.
As of now, we can't do nothing. Until, unless it's an emergency.
So if there's, because I've called a few times, trees come down, and my husband's out early in the morning, so he'll call and be like, oh, will you call Ben? Will you call Brandon? There's a tree down. So do I now call the select board when I
No,
see that stuff?
if there's a tree down or something like that, you'll do it. He's got the right to do it.
Okay, because
Or
I'm
if
just
there's a
not
road,
sure.
or if there's a road that
Any
washes up.
emergencies,
Call Ben,
they get taken care of, yeah.
because they do, they'll come and they'll move the trees, whatever.
I got a question for clarity on culverts. I went and looked at quite a few of them, especially on the steep part this afternoon. And the big metal ones, probably down towards the bottom of the hill that Ben was talking about, that the logging company opened up to do the new logging uphill. Well, there's two of them there, and they're opening up. And one of them I measured 7 feet in diameter. That one's huge, but the tar's good around it. And I know that's probably the one you want to square one in, because it's just above 95 Crab Hill. And I don't see that.
Just,
It's all the way down. And then there's a 4-footer, maybe 25, 30 feet from it.
Yep.
Right there,
Yep.
both coming from that drainage that's going up on the north side of Crab Hill towards Church Street. Because that's a big watershed right there coming down there.
the guy was with me, I said it was odd that he put two culverts so close together, and they're both big.
They're
He says,
4 feet and 7 feet.
he says you'll find the big one is the main flow. That one is the
Overflow.
overflow.
Yeah.
In case that can't take care of it, that one does.
Because it's still fairly steep right there.
Yeah. And the overflow one is the one Ben wants to change.
Okay, that's the downstream, that's the lower one. So the
Yeah.
7-footer is uphill a little bit from it, and that makes sense.
The 7-foot one was the one that we had a $90,000 grant for.
Huh?
Yeah, the 7-foot culvert is the one we had a $90,000 grant for. And it cost us $14,000 for engineering outfit to come in here and engineer it all out. And they really didn't do a good job. And we figured it all out, and by the time it got all done, it'd be like between $200,000 and $300,000 finished. So that's why we didn't do it.
And so that was looked at before.
Was that close to 20 years ago?
No,
That was this one, last year, year before.
Well, I think
3 years, 4
before, I think
4 years.
4 years that was looked
Yeah,
at.
it was.
Oh, I mean, when was the 7-footer put in?
Oh, that was put in,
That was,
A long time.
lost fun.
I'm telling you, probably 50 years ago.
That's what I was questioning.
That culvert's good, it's working, that 7-foot culvert is good, it's working. The only problem was, when we put it in, it's right next to the road. So we're figuring on it safety wise.
Because it's short, you mean, doesn't
Right.
come out.
But Bim has cement barriers up there at the farm, and he was going to use them to put around it.
That's where he was talking about, that location.
Instead of buying them, he had some up there. But the 4-foot one, yes, he wanted to change that out if that was metal.
It
If
is,
it was metal.
it is.
So it's a good time to change that out to plastic if it's gonna be paved over.
And that culvert should be up behind the shed. So-
They are, I went up
They
there,
are,
all
they're
all the culverts
Sometimes you
that were on that
can't
hill
put a
are.
bigger
numbered.
culvert in, because you're gonna lift the road up. You can't bring it down lower, because it'll be below the brook. So sometimes you have to go with what you can fit,
That's
so if you need 2 or 3 culverts.
He just wanted to replace it because, like, the time I was road commissioner back in '06, I mean, it was really, really, really bad. It was up on the town farm road. And just put that new culvert at the bottom of the hill there, the big one. And so we paid from that culvert up to Bim's fields. We didn't pave, this was '06. And I can remember going down on the back side of the hill, just before you start heading up. We got a call, the culvert had washed out. Come to find out, we looked and it was a metal culvert. And the whole thing had washed out and we had to dig it up. And here is brand new pavement just put in there. It almost made me sick, but we had to dig it up and replace
And
it.
that's been a problem ever since you dug it up.
No,
it's better.
it's lasted quite a few years.
No, I'm talking about the road itself.
Oh,
It sinks there. In the winter, it raises, comes up and down.
oh, yeah, they all do that.
More-
But on our road, anybody got any more comments on here that?
No, well, yeah, I did actually have one. As far as gravel material, did this guy that that's kind of the road expert, did he suggest what type of 3/4 minus or 1 inch minus fractured rock, especially on the hill?
1 inch minus, but he also was very adamant about clean gravel that's not full of silt and clay and it's easy to tell. You just take some of the gravel, throw it in a glass like that with some water, shake it around, and see if it looks like a mud puddle.
A lot of his gravel, he used to dig at P-Dex.
Huh?
A lot of his gravel, he's been getting at P-Dex, there, in the morning.
Yeah, but Bim had, thought I saw that. Yeah. He's got screen gravel, $12 a yard. And Bankland gravel, which we're not interested in, that's 10. Sand is, I don't know if that's 6 or 6, must be 16. No, 6, I don't know. And long 18, but, it's gotta be screened, preferably crushed better than screened.
Oh, yeah.
It's better, but I don't know, besides Peter, who's gonna crush stuff around.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that at the pit up the Canton.
Huh?
I don't know if they do that at the pit up there at Canton off 108 or not.
I don't think that's the stone.
Huh?
I don't think it's.
That's the stone you
Is it Customary? I think that's what they do there, winter sand.
the stone where you head to,
No, this is going toward Littlemore on the left. Right down below David Bragg's old garage,
oh,
down on the left, take a left.
I don't know what they got left.
Down where Summers used to live.
Last I knew, there wasn't much for gravel left in there. They pretty much stripped that out, but I don't know.
I don't know, I think there's still quite a bit there.
Because they, the last of it, they were digging huge farm ponds, basically, they were digging down in the base deep to fill in the water.
That's why they've been getting their, well,
What they're saying,
Rin ain't got it there yet, but that's why they've been getting their winter sand from.
But, you know, if he wants to give a price for just screened gravel, inch screened or inch crushed gravel, we'll look at both.
I think he's been using inch and a half, I'm not sure.
You know, it depends on thickness, you know, how much you're gonna lay down. Inch and a half, you're laying down 4 or 5 inches, not a problem.
Yep.
But if you try to put an inch down, you get inch and a half rock, and that don't work too good.
Probably.
So, but that's all immaterial, you know, but when he does the form, hopefully we'll get to him very soon. He'll be able to say, you know, this is the price for crushed rock, this is the price for this screened
Mhm.
gravel. And we, you know, it's what.
I like the crushed rock, because it has sharp edges in it.
Fractured rock, they call it.
But it depends on the price, I guess, and how much. To this day, I don't know how much money town anticipated paying for this work.
It was budgeted for 50,000 for
If the
that.
town said that we can't go over 50,000 for that job, we have to do the whole thing, and the price comes back at 70,
This is what we budgeted right there. For the whole thing. That's what the tar, that's the last year's price, so you had 50,000 and then asphalt was 100, so that was
so this is your max here,
probably it.
but you wouldn't want to put it all on one run, would you?
You do the whole, that's what Ben wanted though, that's what he asked for, right?
I mean,
I mean, we're gonna do it cheaper than that.
I don't think this board, in my opinion, has the right to say how much money is gonna go in there.
Right.
I think we need to just give this information to the select board, let them decide how much money they wanna put in.
But if it went willy-nilly, that's what you would end up paying.
Yeah.
Right? If we weren't here to say, no, we don't wanna do that, we're gonna do this.
But I'm also a firm believer, if you don't spend every penny on that,
Right.
you save a couple dollars for the rainy day.
We all set? Are we gonna be all set?
So I just want to be clear. So you're going to take that to them. And we don't need the ditching, right?
Some places do, some don't.
All right.
But
The culverts need to be ditched,
where he starts in is up where it doesn't do that. But down below, it's light ditching.
All right, so we're going to go back and just basically do it, right? Yes to this, no to this,
Kind of.
tweak it and get your numbers a little tighter.
Do recommendations and then
Yeah.
the select board can.
Because, you know, I'm not gonna say forget the ditching, because you can't, but I'm not gonna say just ditch everything because you don't need to.
Right.
So it's, you know, we can write it in, that this, first ditching up there where it's got good ditches is off. Forget it's there except for putting the berms in, which doesn't take long, just an excavator bucket, and dump them in there. But, yes, we'll take out and make it obvious to him, and if it doesn't need to be done, and make it obvious what needs to be done.
So he's just basically doing a kind of a generalized bid quote.
Right, now we're going to
Loosely-
tweak it, fine tune it.
You just wanna get to him before he does all the work on doing what he thinks.
Because, you know, yeah, excuse me, be fair to him. We don't want him giving us a price for this, and then try to hit him afterwards with what we know we want him to do or what we're gonna do that he can even know about. That's not fair to him, or to anybody. So he needs to know what we expect, and we relay it to the select board, so they know what it is, and they can decide to hold it, fold it, or whatever they want to do. But we would have done our job
Sounds good.
to the best of our knowledge.
I think we already voted on this.
Hmm?
We already voted on it, so it's all good.
But that's my proposal, if anybody thinks it's
Oh, it's good.
out of line, I need to know.
No, I think it sounds reasonable, just so, you know, I don't want him to waste his time for 2 weeks writing a very detailed
I
estimate.
know,
And that's,
we gotta get it going,
Right.
instead of going back and forth every week.
that's why he agreed to, if we get this information, he will come to the select board, their next, with what we want.
And I
So if you
don't
can
want
get that.
to have people think that I'm biased either way, again, for or against, because I'm not. But regardless of what people think, to me, it's what we get for our money. And if we get what we need for our money, and it's a good investment, I don't care if Ben does it or Joe Small does it. If they do the right job and for the right money, I'm good with that. But I can tell whoever's, I'm not the road commissioner, but trust you, me, I will be looking at it as they go. Because I have a deep interest in it because I'm a taxpayer.
You want to help the people in the town.
And like I said, you know, anybody in this town that doesn't pay a tax, well, they could do, but I'm just not one of them. So if I spend it, one of the supervisors I worked with, they made fun of him and kind of me too, because we were both very thrifty. And somebody said, well, he's so damn tight, he shouldn't be there. And I said, he has one theory. For every dollar I spend, I want at least $1's return for it, maybe more. And I said, okay, so yes, that's pretty clear. And he was, and I'm a little bit on the thrifty side because when I retired, they gave me the plaque for 43 and a half years of work. It said, for a very frugal supervisor.
That's good.
And I was like, is that making fun of me? Or complimenting me? I said, I'm not sure which that is, but it was a compliment because they kept track of figures. There was 7 regions to the state, and they kept track of each region and the equipment and cost. And one other guy from Ellsworth and myself were tied all the time for the least money spent to keep trucks running in good shape. And I said, that's what we want. The public, that pay taxes in this country, state, they deserve that. And I think the people in this town that pay taxes deserve it as well. And I don't want my money wasted, and I'm sure there's nobody in this room wants their money wasted. So, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm going to adjourn the meeting.
I have one order of business, it's been reoccurring every year, it's FEMA. And, that apparently Ben is the only one that actually contacts them. Or does the town?
Lean talks with them, then matter of fact, I guess, just talked to somebody. I don't know if it was yesterday or today, he talked to somebody. And he is gonna have that info too at the next board meeting. And we have until September.
Can we get FEMA in here to talk to the road committee?
Why do you need them? I don't know.
I don't know, it seems funny how things just keep,
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim and I have been out with them. With these 2 storms we had, Jim and I have been out with them, I don't know how many times, probably half a dozen times, and a lot of different times we went out with them, we had a different group.
Isn't it now they want GPS readings of the problems?
Yeah, usually.
Was that,
Don't they want GPS readings of the
oh
problems?
yeah, we've done that too with them. On all the roads that was washed out, we've been out there, we've given them latitude, longitude, how many feet,
And I'm not so sure that they're not using that to go on the satellite and see what the
how
road
they are,
looked
yes.
like before the storm and find out if what you're telling them is really what happened. It's pretty easy. I mean, they got good satellite images to go right down and see.
They probably do, and they've been out with us two or three times, they've been out with us on the jobs, the sites.
But getting back to FEMA, my point was the last meeting, we actually talked about it with Ben, and he said that since he's been home from the hospital, he has contacted FEMA. And he had to, as of July 8th, he had 2 or 3 things that him and Jeremy were gonna go estimate that FEMA wanted that week. Now, do we know that that actually got done?
He, like I said, he told me he's gonna bring all the info at the next board meeting, and we have got until September to get this to him.
To get it to FEMA. All right, we all set?
Just seems like a gray area, but, I was wondering if we could have a little more transparency there too. Is he emailing them or is he writing
Talks to
them
him on the phone,
just on the phone?
and we've had 7 meetings at the town office, we've been, me and Leanne.
This seems like something the road committee could probably do better. He's a good road guy and everything.
I don't know, it's, the federal
Yeah,
government is all together.
oh, I know. That's why I wonder how savvy he is.
They take that-
Because we'd like to have copies of emails or any
They take that
correspondence he's
time,
had.
They take their time.
They do.
No, yeah. Further, I mean, they're understaffed from what just happened in this past record rainstorms. That's about all I just wanted to try to get maybe a little bit more of a handle on the FEMA. I know Ben's been handling it and part of Leanne, but I don't know, I think we should probably be in the loop a little bit more if we can.
If it's not completed
I don't
until
know.
September, I mean, I think if they rejected it, sure. But
Right.
I don't think it's a crime to be simple and not have internet and not have, your computer and, like, I think give him the opportunity to come and speak at the next meeting. I don't think there's any shady business. It was just a simple guy.
Right, oh, I know.
You
We
know.
love that problem.
So I think,
And I don't think,
I don't think we have to micromanage every single thing.
I don't think it's
that
gonna
him
do any
touches.
good. I
Right,
don't think it's gonna do any good to have whether you guys are in on it or not.
Any good for doing what?
I said, I don't think it's gonna change anything, whether the road committee is in on it or not with FEMA.
I just figured maybe we could help if it's not being
So
completed.
for FEMA, the work has to be completed by that time for FEMA to pay for it though. If it is not, the town of Hartford gets
Oh, yeah,
stuck
he knows
with
that, he knows that, but at the end, by September. He knows that, and he's been talking with them, so.
and maybe at the next meeting, if it's still status quo, then, yeah. What do you do to get there?
I just it just seems like it's always hanging over us and we really don't know what's going on. It's just like, well, they're gonna get back to us, they're gonna get back. I got with them, I'm not exactly sure.
The guy had heart failure, I mean, you gotta give him a
No,
little
he's
bit.
talking about talking to FEMA, not to.
Well,
I mean, like Darrington, talk with Darrington, that definitely needs to be done. And, I don't understand.
I did, when I spoke with him today, he did state that he could work with the crew at McNeil Farms to do computerized work. So I think it may be possible that he would work with Rose to maybe there can be some clearer communication for everyone to understand and just an explanation for what BIM would like to do, what FEMA is willing to pay, like is there a cap? So maybe we just need to ask for clarification from him for the next select board's meeting.
You ready to adjourn this meeting?
Not yet,
Uh-oh.
I almost forgot something. Grading town roads. Just shaking them up, clean the ditches out with a grader, get a crown on them, make sure that the water can drain off properly, and not wash out our roads. I went and looked at our town grader. God help it. That thing
That's a,
is, it's not suffering from neglect, lack of neglect. It's got a lot of that, but there's 6 ball tires on it. There's brakes that don't work, because I asked Wes Hutchins about running it, because he is a good grader operator. He knows someone who can't use roads, and he said, I won't touch that grader. And I said, you won't. I said, no. He says, brakes not good, steering's not good, Scarifire's gone now, and Brandon.
got a piston that's gone.
And I talked to Brandon, no, evidently not. I found out it's not gone.
Oh, really?
Does it have a pit in it where it blows the seal?
Huh?
If you send it all the way out, it won't blow the seal?
Brandon didn't say it would, but anyway, Brandon said the cabs all flop on it. And I was like, great. And best estimate, when I was working, you can figure $1,000 a tire.
Yep.
So you're looking at $6,000 for tires alone, if nothing goes wrong. Brakes, unless you can x-ray that metal and see what's inside, you ain't gonna know until you get into it. So you could be looking at another $6,000 for brakes, maybe more, maybe less, hard to say. The steering, I guess it's just leaks, but what needs to be done there, I didn't get into that. It was like, that was so disgusting just seeing it the way it is. So I figured you probably can dump $10,000 to $15,000 into that grader to try to make a grader that works properly.
Yeah.
And you still get an old grader.
I think it's a 70 something, isn't it?
Yeah, Bim,
I
I
don't know.
chatted with him and he was trying to figure out if it was
I don't know how old it is.
72 to 74. He thinks they purchased it in 78, but it was old stock.
Yeah.
I don't know how old it is, but there's a tag on it said it came over on the Mayflower. So it's probably old. But in the process, when I talked to Wes Hutchins, he said to see Jim's rent it, about a grader.
We've rented graders before when the engine was blown.
And Diane kindly got the information, gets $1,800 a week for the grader, plus transportation that to and from, that add to that. That's another $300. But, what was it, he said, they don't go up and rent it for a week?
No, it's usually a long-term rental, so Rentit's grader is available for the next week and a half, and then it's a long-term rental for, they believe, about 2 months.
So trying to get a hold of that is iffy at best. And
Then what happens, they pay by the hour, right, as it.
so anyway, when there was grading,
If we provide an operator, we're just
when they were
rental
paving,
for a set rate.
when we were paving some of the roads in this town, I noticed, I think it was over on Church Street. And before they paved, there was a John Deere grader in there, shaping the road up before pavement. And she found out who it was. and
Northeast.
He has his own grader. He does not rent it out, but he goes with it for $130
30 an hour.
an hour. Wes Hutchins said it's a good grader. He thinks he could do the town roads in 3 days. So I said, let's say 4 8-hour days for this guy. I personally think that that's more smart on it than trying to fix that area.
Right.
I think that should be cut up in small pieces.
And Bim did agree with that, he knows that the
Just put it up for
graders.
sale or auction, probably just for sale,
Not the first year.
whatever. And get rid of it because that's a money pit.
Yes, that's it.
It's too old to put big, good money into it. It's like really putting money into bad money.
So that'd be up to the selectmen to rent a grader.
So anyway, that's what I can give you for information. My opinion would be that I'll take the guy that owns a grader, runs a grader.
Right.
He's about as used to that as anybody there is, and if he's smart enough to know how to slope that road for pavement, he probably can handle that back roads for us.
And he's quite familiar with many of our roads, because he's done most of them.
Because, like Wes Hutchins, he knows how, but that, renting a grader for 1,800, not knowing if you can even get it, that doesn't work good.
I called six different places for grader rentals. They either charge a lot more, but most are all long-term rentals. So those are the only 2 options out of many that were available.
But if any of you don't know how they should grade a road, is they go through and they take the blade and put it down into the ditch, all that good gravel that plow was put out there, and they pull that back into the road to start working with. And then they go through, and if you got potholes that deep, you take at least that much, right off the whole top, and clean it right off.
Sometimes they use it.
And then he said, once you do that, you work across, you clean the whole road off like that. Windrow, basically, in the middle of the road, where you've already been. And then when you're done, you spread that back out with a slope, but no ridges at the end, so that you show the ditches can do their job. And Wes Hutchins, I know, I asked him, I said, how would you do it? And he knew. And obviously this guy, I don't know his name, names and me don't work together, but anyway, I think that he probably has a pretty good idea how to grade the roads and pull them into shape.
Now, is he the one, you mean that Northeast Haven hires to shim their roads before they pave?
Yes.
Does he come from Jay over that area?
No, he's from Fairfield.
Yeah, right, okay, yeah, that's right.
But I said,
Sometimes they used to try to just cut the tops off of potholes. You know, without getting, usually you gotta go deeper than, when you do that and fill them in, 2 days later, you got pot. And our grader chatters, so you're getting that, that's why you get the bumpy roads. 'Cause-
it's on a good day.
No, that's
So I did talk with him because I know that this
anyway.
topic was coming up.
My recommendation, the rest of you can say, jump in here and there, but I say the town probably to get their roads graded and shaped up, would be better off to hire that guy who just do that.
I make a motion to put it on the selectmen to hire them. You know, something,
Second, third, whatever.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
in favor?
What are you figuring, 3 times a year, maybe? What are you figuring, maybe 3 times a year? Grading?
Did you say do it 3 times a year?
Yes, that was
Times
a,
a year.
maybe?
If it's done well, you can get by with 2 easy.
I figured probably do it once before the ground freezes is really good.
Oh,
right.
that's, yeah, that can be most
And
anything.
another thing, when you're grading roads, I always found that if you grade them right after a rainstorm, it packs better. If you do it when the ground is really dry, you end up with more.
Yeah.
So you gotta play that in too, if you could get it graded.
Well, that's why a lot of places, when they grade a road, they put calcium chloride out.
Yeah, I don't
When they
know.
say it's to hold dust down, well, yeah, but it's also to hold moisture in the soil.
Our roads got enough salt, our dirt roads got enough salt, and they went all the time. And you go up, the one year Ben was putting calcium chloride on the road, and that was like crazy. All right, we're all set with that.
I guess that would be a recommendation. Do we need to give you paper recommendations, or you just tell me?
No, you just put it on the agenda.
But after,
What's that?
You just put it on the agenda.
On the agenda?
Well, it's on the minutes.
Yeah, I'll put it on the minutes and then,
Yeah.
do we need to work up an agenda? That's actually a good idea. Yeah. Do you want to try to do that the next meeting?
Either we could bring it up on the roads. Or we could bring it up on the roads.
All right.
they have on their agenda is always roads, so we can roll all
For the
of
next
that.
select board meeting, they can put on their agenda.
Yeah, I talked with them about the grader, because my concerns was after the problems were known, is insurance wise, God forbid, that something per se with the town grader breaks, one of, operator is in it, or something happens, is an accident, we have severe liability for that, and with that grader that way, I think we would be sued.
Did you, Diane, did you mention this guy?
Yes, I did.
What do you think?
He knows Ron Chase. He's said he's done great work and he has no problem with Ron Chase.
Okay, good.
Good.
Good job.
That's our recommendation. We'll-
Meanwhile, we probably had been check with, Northeast Paving to see exactly what kind of a price wise they could give us if we grind in part of Pratt Hill.
That would be a nice idea, because I mean, if it was doable, it would be a good investment. But I mean,
But he did do that to some roads, I can't remember now which roads he did that with, but he did do that, that's why I know he was charging 63 cents a square foot.
figure that out probably, but,
I think I've seen a machine grind it, put it up in the machine, and spit it back out in the back.
no church to figure it out.
Church Street did it and did they do it on part of Stetson?
On what?
Maybe
Stetson?
part of Stetson.
He might
Maybe
be Stetson. Sam Anderson, no, he didn't.
They did on my road, over 140,
Yeah,
Cary Hill,
How far down did they go?
the whole thing. Oh, all of it, 3 layers.
At least 12 inches down, so
My
8.
water line underneath the ground, I put a drill well in it.
The guy that I was talking to, he said they typically on a road like that would go set it to a foot deep.
Yeah.
And that's what they grind it out at. So then once they grind it, reshape it, still put a good coat of gravel on
but
top.
I
3
also,
inches of gravel.
I also think they like to have rocks taken out too before.
Huh?
They also, pretty sure they like to have the rocks taken out before. I think the
Right.
rocks showing.
I didn't see any rocks sticking out, to be honest with you. I don't know where they are. If you know where they are, just go down with some paint and paint the rock. Because I mean, that way it's easy to see where it is and if it needs to come out now or.
I think a hammer would get a bang out, see how big they are. Or a bar.
Are you talking on the steep part of the hill on the right-hand side when you're going downhill? Because there's some bedrock right there, right underneath the
Well,
top.
Vince, he seems to think,
That's okay.
the tag going down over the hill. He seems to think that's all right, there's no rocks there. But I'm talking about further down, the closer you get to Mahoney Road.
Where that pavement is.
Yeah,
Kind of,
Breaking up.
holes.
the holes. But like I said, that's, grinding would be ideal if we want to pay for that as a town. But,
Well, Northeast has been working pretty good with him.
you know, just have to decide as a select board
Usually when he puts out the bids for paving, they're always the cheapest.
how much money you want to spend.
Well, if we do these roads, we wanna do it right, we don't wanna go back in 3 years and have them start to fall apart again, so. I mean, look at, by David's, from David's pit up, that road stayed really good. St. Anne's Road, if you do them right, you get a good base on them, you get them packed really good, they'll last. If you just kinda go through them,
I'll tell you one shitty job the state did, Wesley. I'll tell you one shitty job state has
So you
done,
don't have to tell me, I can show you where it
and
is.
that's that one up by Camp Lake. Maybe place that culvert up there.
Beyond shitty, but that's not.
That is a safety feature that wakes you up when you go to work.
So you don't fall asleep either way.
So you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, look at
Built
the
in
bridge,
speed
you go from Hartford into Sumner, how many years did it take them to get rid of that thing that'll pick you up, throw you in the air, throw you off the road in the winter? That lifted you right up,
Where, which one's this?
the bridge right there on 140, Hartford into Sumner, right? And then the other one going
That one
to,
going Canton, man, that must have been hot on the plows. I can't imagine.
hitting that.
But anyway, that's,
I hit him with a regular plow truck and it throws my plow right in the air, you must hit him, you don't drive that fast.
Oh, yeah.
I hit a bump and then the plow throws it right up in the air, almost puts it up on the hood.
the only thing I can say about you know, if we could grind it, then he had no problem with paving it right behind it, you know, soon.
Good.
But if you're not gonna pave it, don't dig rocks out. I mean, if you're not gonna grind it, don't dig rocks out now and try to pave it now.
Well, let's just work on getting that form first, and then we can go from there.
We can give you a little yardstick, you know, ruler, and you can go along and measure that like road up there and see how many square feet there is.
Steve had a square feet down.
But
1,000 feet is like $1,000 square feet, you know, street. 1,000 feet,
we know it's about, what, 8 tenths of a mile,
The whole road itself is 8/10 of a mile.
but I said, you know, I don't know what, I think it's like 3 tenths on the top end, it's been done just last year or the year before. I don't remember which it was,
I think from 219 down to Bottom Hill is like 2/10.
2 tenths. So, if we figure the width of the road, the length, we can figure out pretty easily how many square feet there is, and if you know how much per square foot it is this year. And if you can get it.
You're all set.
I'm all set.
All right, so let's adjourn this meeting.
You make that motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, we're done with it.
Okay, Maura, you're up.
I had several questions, President. One was Diane mentioned, is the town responsible for any conditions on the road which cause an accident?
No, I wasn't stating roads, I
What
was,
did you say then?
I was stating the condition of our grader.
I'm sorry. I
Agreement.
can't hear just like that.
I was talking about the condition our grader is in, if that breaks, hurts the town employees or in
Okay,
general.
okay, thank you. Number one, number two, actually, Mike Manny's place. With the culvert up, the Mike Manny's, the old church.
Yeah.
Okay? I was a congregant of that church for many years. That culvert got replaced. How many feet do you think that drains, that culvert? Don't know.
Not much.
No, you're right, not much, because it's less than 100 feet from that culvert up to where the end of the parking lot is.
Right.
And I'll tell you, the water that comes out of that parking lot runs right down to the downhill side, okay?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the peak.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I know Mike, been there, talked to him many times.